All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Joe Douglas finally met with the media as a part of the Jets exit meeting. So we were expecting this presser, but when it comes to Douglas, as Jets fans here, we know this. He's been here for years. He never really gives those highly detailed answers, those, extremely in-depth responses. There's always a lot left to be desired. The answers are typically vague, a lot of coach speak, in other words. But I will say this, Douglas started off the press conference by taking some accountability, which was nice to hear as a fan, talking about how, whatever organization he's been a part of, high school, college, professional, the organizations that have won, there's been some level of handling and battling back through adversity. But he talked about how, this season was obviously disappointing and how the Jets did not do that and how it's weighing on him, essentially. So, yes, that's super obvious. And yes, I feel like I could speak for a lot of Jets fans. We need Joe Douglas to take some accountability for, some of the moves made this offseason and some of the moves that were not made throughout the course of this season. I mean, man, there's a lot here. It's not just one small misstep and the whole season went up in flames. No, there were a lot of different, areas that Douglas dropped the ball with. So I'm I don't want to say excited. Excited isn't the right word, but I'm kind of relieved to hear Douglas start the presser off by having at least a little bit of accountability. Because if there wasn't any being taken, I would have a major issue. But anyway, he continues. And by the way, later on in the press conference, he actually took some accountability with his record, right? His record is 27-56 as a general manager here for the Jets. 27-56. He said, we need to win. We need to win more. He understands that his record is not good at all and that this thing needs to get flipped around. The Jets have to turn this thing around. To me, there's no more excuses. Every team gets injured. We're having young teams lap the Jets, Houston, Indy, Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay's in the playoffs. This is crazy. We're having teams with less talent, teams with younger coaches doing more than the Jets. Look, it's one thing if it was Douglas's first season. It's one thing if it was Salah's first season. It's one thing if, we were pressed up against the cap and we couldn't really sign any free agents and we're struggling. We're working with, the former regime's roster and we just can't get out of these big deals. This is the team that Douglas and Salah have constructed for years. And so that's what doesn't really sit well with me. That combined with the fact that we're not getting to 500. So I'm happy that Douglas at least acknowledged, the fact that the Jets have got to win more and that the sense of urgency is real, because at the end of the day, it is real and it needs to be addressed. It frankly has to. It's just, as a Jet fan, we all know this. It's been so frustrating watching this team miss out on the playoffs every single year. All those years with New England dominating the division, and Brady goes to Tampa and all of a sudden Buffalo takes off. We're looking at Miami in the playoffs, again. And it's like we're on the outside looking in. This has to change. It has to change. So, of course, the quarterback position came up. Did he address Zach Wilson? Yes. He said that, that essentially saying that the team is open to trading him, right? If somebody calls, he's going to listen. The phones are going to be active. And at the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for Zach and the team. We listened to Aaron Rodgers' press conference earlier in the day, and it sounded like Zach has played his last game with the Jets. Of course, that's not confirmed or anything, but I'm getting that vibe. When you listen to coaches and players, with Rodgers and even Douglas, it does sound like the Jets are going to be working on a potential trade with, another team out there. As far as compensation goes, that's still up in the air. It definitely sounds like Douglas and Salah have not really gotten a jump start on the offseason list of things to do. It sounds like there's a lot of meetings that are going to be taking place, a lot of talking that's going to be in place over these next couple of days and weeks, which I'm hoping, is kind of sped up and we really hit the ground running here, because this offseason, quite frankly, is so important for everybody. It's important for Rodgers. It's important for the younger players on the roster. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. I don't want these guys, buying out of what the Jets have in place. I don't want to lose these guys mentally. It's a big year for Douglas, Saul, Hackett. I mean, everybody's job is on the line. Everybody's reputation is on the line as well. So it's massive. We don't need to talk about how important the 2024 offseason is. Another thing too, in regards to not signing a veteran backup, Douglas said that he felt like he had we felt like they had a good plan in place with Zach and Tim Boyle. Did say that hindsight's 2020, and it obviously did not work out. I understand that, through the first couple of weeks, first month or two, but not all season. Not all season. Right? Like, how many weeks have to go by to where the Jets are struggling on third downs, struggling on the red zone, having players openly frustrated, not putting up points, not getting in the end zone, constantly settling for field goals, constantly turning the football over, constantly punting, right? How many weeks have to go by for the general manager to go out there, be proactive, and make a move? It never really seemed like there was that fire. Jets fans have talked about this point a ton throughout the course of the season. It just seemed like when Rodgers got hurt, everybody threw their hands up, and by everybody I kind of mean coaches and management, saying this is the year. That's it. Better luck in 2024. And I do not like that mentality personally, because a lot of teams could have done that this season, threw their hands up, punted on the year, but they didn't, and some teams went out and actually had success as the season progressed. Same exact comment. The whole hindsight 2020 thing was with Dalvin Cook, right? So he addressed that, basically saying that the Jets, or that he felt like the Jets added a Pro Bowl running back. They felt like it was a safe signing, but at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Towards the end of the presser, he did endorse Saleh by saying that he's the right, I forget the exact quote, but it was like, he's the right coach for the job because he's the right man for the job, or he's the right man for the job because he's the right coach, or something like that. So it definitely does seem like Douglas is still invested in Robert Saleh, but I don't really see a situation where the Jets fire Saleh next season if things don't go well, but keep Douglas. Again, that 27-56 record speaks volumes about the long, I feel like this is like the longest rebuild ever. What is it, 4-5 years now? Think about how much money Douglas has spent in free agency. All these contracts. Laken Tomlinson and CJ Uzama, Tyler Conklin, Alan Lazard, Dalvin Cook, McCole Hart, so many players that Douglas has brought in. So many draft classes as well. Think about just first round picks alone. What are we at, 6, 7? Let's quickly go through them. Mekhi Becton, Zach Wilson, AVT, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. Am I missing any more? I think that's 6 or 7 right there. So just in first round picks, we've had a lot. He's had a lot more than the typical general manager that just has one first round pick every year. Personally, I feel like we should be further along in the process. Whether Rodgers goes down or not, we should look like a more complete team with more answers as opposed to questions as the season plays out. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about this presser, about Joe Douglas, and really the current state of affairs with the New York Jets front office and how they should attack the 2024 offseason. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.